The rack on my Land Cruiser cost $1,500. It's also 9 years old. Thank you for joining me. I'm Michael, Overland Bound. I am in the beautiful grasslands of California, otherwise known as just outside Livermore, and we're going to take a good look at this rack today. There are lots of unboxings and equipment reviews for things that folks just got, and they're great. But what you really want to know is how that equipment stands the test of time. So now we got 9 years on this thing, and we're going to take a good look at it. It's been hard use. How's it doing? We're also going to talk about some of the features and the construction of the rack so that you can consider those things if you're thinking about investing in a rack of your own. Let's take a look. We'll look at how my rack has done over the years, pointing out certain things, and then we'll talk about some of the features that you need to consider if you're looking to get a rack of your own. You'll want to stick around for that. Let's cover the basics. This is a Gobi roof rack. There's good and there's bad. The good is I recommend the rack to folks. It is a very good rack. We'll look at how it's done. The bad is they haven't really figured out production lead time. It's very hard to get a good idea when you will receive your rack, even if you ask them. I just tell people, give yourself 3 to 6 months if you're ordering a Gobi, and you should be satisfied. In general, the rack has done very well. It has been used and abused, and it has really continued to perform. I don't have heavy corroding issues. It is still a solid one-piece design. The welds have not failed at all, and all of those things are good. Let's look at some of the things that have failed. All right, now this is how we get up top. If you don't have your internet certified overland license, then don't try this at home. This is not for amateurs. First of all, I made my own mounting plates for my traction boards. Don't do that. This is cringy. This should make you go, ooh, because I didn't take the time to go and bring it to a fabrication shop. Instead, I took mounting plates and I screwed them into the existing rack, and it's failing. I really need to take that into a fabrication shop and get that cleaned up so that it doesn't continue to corrode. Now, perhaps on a surprising note, I don't have any regrets in attaching my limb risers in the way that I did. I drilled 2 holes in the top of the bars, the support bars, and put a tension hook through that hole after painting it to try and help with corrosion resistance. There hasn't been any corrosion there. It's done just fine. It could be because there are drain holes in the bottom of the rack, but it's worked well. Another thing I've done more recently is weld a couple of brackets on the Gobi rack for my KC HiLites. Now, with a good rack, that's not a concern. The metal is thick enough to create a solid weld, and there's been no problem whatsoever with the KC lights. It's not a light bar. It has some weight to it, and it's done very well. That just is a testament to the quality of the Gobi rack. Other features of the Gobi rack. You can remove the sunroof. I thought that was really cool. Now, the sunroof has hold downs that are knobs that just screw in. One of those did back out and I did lose it. It was just through vibration. Now, mind you, I've done 17-day trips down through Baja on washboard road. I probably should have been checking to make sure that it was still secure, but one of those attachments did come off. I also have a mounting solution, a shovel and axe mounting solution that I also got from Gobi. I cannot say enough good things about this mounting solution. They're lockable. They have never stuck at all. In freezing temperatures, you don't want to be struggling with an attachment. They've always been very easy to put on and take off. The locking mechanism works fantastic. There's been no failure whatsoever. So that's definitely a high point. Now, you're going to see rust here and there. Here's the thing, it's superficial. The other thing, pay attention to how a rack mounts to the rig. Mine mounts to the drip rails and it has been absolutely flawless. Of course, all of the hardware is stainless and weatherproof or very weather resistant, and it's just been fine over the last 9 years. Now the Gobi rack comes pre-installed with lighting wires running through the rack, and the holes have a little rubber grommet. Taking a closer look up top, you can see that the rubber grommets are cracking after being weathered over a lot of years. It also has an air dam. This is very important to reduce wind noise and also to improve aerodynamics, but the rubber molding along the air dam, the bottom of the air dam, has worn a hole in my paint over the years. That doesn't bug me as much as you might think. This is a utility vehicle. I expect it to get scratched. And is it going to rub through the paint over 9 years after going off-road and vibrating on washboard roads and things of that nature? You know, absolutely. In order to create a proper air dam, that would be very difficult to avoid. Now I put a lot of weight on here, and here are some stats. You can see the expanded metal is heavy duty enough to not have warped or been misshaped. I walk up here, that's a lot of pounds per square inch, and it's been just fine over the years. All right, now what are some of the features of a rack that you should consider if you're going to get your own? First of all, get a one-piece design. There are a lot of things out there that are modular and allow you to kind of build your own rack. Well, that's just going to rattle apart. I don't care how much people say, oh, yeah, no, this is a really good design. It's very strong. Why? It's made of extruded aluminum. If it's not a one-piece design, you're looking for trouble. Also, you want a flat rack. You don't want something that follows the contour of your rig. You just want to make sure that at least the deck is flat. Consider the sides. Do you want a stealth rack? Do you want a flat rack? Or do you want a Ranger rack? What is right for your use? If you're going to get a tent or you're going to put a tent up on there, then you might want to get a lower rack. You'll need to do your own research on that. You could just get away with load bars on the top of your rig without getting a rack if you're going to do a rooftop tent. Also, what kind of accessories do you have? Are you going to want to mount accessories on it? The good thing about the Gobi rack is that it's stout. It's a very good quality construction, so I was able to do just about whatever I wanted to do without trouble. Also consider what kind of lighting that you might want to get on the rack. Most racks have lighting brackets on the front. Look at the install guide for lights and look at the mounts that you have on the rack to determine whether it will be appropriate. The one thing I'll say about a rack, absolutely invaluable if you're going on long trips and you need to store gear outside of the rig. It is very useful to get things out of the rig and up on the rack, especially things that you're not going to use all the time. Think tools and things of that nature. All right, thank you for hanging out with me. I hope it was useful. If you're thinking about getting a rack for yourself, those are some things for you to consider. If you have further questions, if there's something I missed, you can get a hold of me over on the Overland Bound forums, and that is overlandbound.com/forums. And this video is brought to you by our members. Did you know that there are over 20,000 Overland Bound members worldwide, all here to support you on outfitting your rig and on overland travel? So if you really want to help us out, head on over to the Overland Bound website, see about becoming a member. We would love to have you as part of our worldwide crew. Thank you very much. Until next time, I hope to see you on the trail, outfit, and explore.